The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey folks, it's good morning from the East Coast here, and Grant and both me are both online now and ready to go. And feel free to ask any questions if you have comments, anything.
Yeah, please feel free to use the little chat window there. If anybody has any questions or anything as we go along, just type them in there, and we will, do our best to handle them as they come up. Otherwise, I think you're in charge, aren't you, Paresh? Uh-oh. He seems to have gone offline. Well, okay, let me get started here a little bit. He's not made me a presenter yet.
No, I will make you a presenter. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, there he is. Okay, I
just
thought you were gone for a second.
I was actually in a quietest corner of the office, and suddenly everybody started congregating there. So that's pretty much it. And what I just wanted to share with you guys is thank you. This has been almost 1.5 months since we had a webinar at the Past Professional Development chapter. My name is Paresh Motiwala, and on the other side, the bearded young gentleman is Grant Fritchey. Hi, everyone. And today we are going to be talking about how do you make the most of your past summit this year. We'll just go through the agenda, and we can take it from there. These are our Twitter handles, so go ahead and go crazy with the Twitter. And Grant and Paresh and Past Professional Development and Pass for Twitter handles. And this is what we are going to be speaking about today. Why go, for example? Convince your boss. And there's like a whole document about it. And we will also give you our personal experience on that.
I'm not seeing it.
Yep. Shoestring budget. What the heck can we do if it is a shoestring budget, right? How to choose sessions. Networking. This is one of the main reasons why you really want to go is networking there. Yes, learning does happen a lot. Microsoft CAT teams and their presence there is awesome. And I think Grant has actually met and worked with them in a very deep dive fashion. So he'll talk more about it too. And when you're there, do not shy away from vendors. And we'll talk about why you should do that too. So, and what do you do after the summit is over? How do you follow up, right? And there you can do some touristy stuff there. Possibly not the best of the English, but yes, you can. So without much ado, let me go ahead and give. Oh, there is already a question. Of course, because I didn't share my webcam. Oh, thank you, Sheila. Can you see our screens now?
I see yours. That's good.
Okay, good. Sorry, folks. So we're just going to be talking about the following 9 bullets here for those who missed. My bad. Just been given an Apple to work with, and I had never used an Apple in my whole life. So I am so sorry, folks. Okay, and now I go back to making Grant make make presenter. So Grant, yes, sir. It's all yours.
Okay, I'm going to show my screen. And then I'm going to go to, do you guys now see the Pass Summit website? Lovely pictures of attendees who've been there in the past. I know that person. I don't think I've met that person. Awesome. All right, well, why go to Pass? I mean, Seattle, Washington's a long ways away for a lot of people. Why would you want to go? I mean, what's there? Well, I mean, the way I always put it is it's 5,000 of your closest, dearest friends are all getting together. So why wouldn't you be there? And it's more than that. There's a lot going on. I mean, Pass itself is a nonprofit organization dedicated to teaching and learning all about the Microsoft data platform. I mean, that's what we're on, and that's what we're about. And so in the old days, what did that mean? It meant SQL Server. Nowadays, what does it mean? It means, Azure, SQL database, SQL Server certainly, but Postgres, containers, all kinds of stuff. And here's the good news: we've got it all at Pass Summit. We've set up separate streams so you can talk about architecture, data management, or analytics. We've got learning pathways for the first time this year, where we're literally stacking up a course through the event so you can sign up, go there, and get your learn on and learn how to do things through Pass and through the Pass Summit. So I mean, that's a new thing that we just never had before. That's in there now. And then there's just a gazillion sessions, over 200 sessions by, frankly, industry leading experts on just about every topic under the sun, from query tuning to business analytics to Kubernetes to you name it. There's somebody there talking about it. If it touches or is within the Microsoft Data Platform, there's learning to be had. Paresh, you got anything to add about that?
Yeah, so I think one more thing that I would like to add is the professional development sessions too, right, which
True.
are absolutely fabulous, and at least try to make one per day. Seriously, go to one session per day, which is professional development. For example, I know Ray Kim, our good friend from Albany, is speaking about how do you talk tech to non-techie people. That's like an absolutely amazing. He has presented that here in Boston too for us. So that would be awesome way to go for it. And then you want to talk about a little more about the selection of the sessions. How do we go about doing it? So.
Oh, how do you pick sessions?
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, there's 200 sessions. So what you do is you stick them up on your hotel room wall, and you get a dart, and you just start throwing it at the session chart. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. No, I mean, the way I go about it is, I go about it 3 ways. First, I look at what problems am I experiencing right now today? What stuff have I hit in the last week? Where's been the friction or the pain recently? And so I will see if there's some sessions that could help me alleviate that pain either faster or better. And so I'll look for those. I will also look for sessions on, man, I really want to learn this. I think that our company's going this way, or I want to go this way. I want to, like it says right there, I want to future-proof my data career, right? I want to know about stuff that's coming. I want a good input from someone who knows what they're doing on, here's the next big thing you need to focus on. And so I'm going to look for that. And then finally, I'm going to look for gaps in my schedule and leave them there. The strongest thing I can tell you is don't try to attend every single session. The most important thing you can do when you attend sessions is you're at a live event. So this is your chance to capture the information, great, and then ask questions. If you don't feel like you have questions to ask, if you don't feel like that you're going to be able to get, kind of live experiences from a given session, don't go. The session recordings are available, and you can get those and download them. And so save some of your time for networking, which I know we're going to talk about later, but definitely save some of your time for that. Now, Paresh has got a slightly different input. I want to hear what that is.
So what I feel is that given that there are like 6 sessions a day, and if you are having slots for 6 sessions,
6 a day, 60
in one stream, that is.
Okay.
So in time slots, in terms of time slots, right? There'll be like one from 9 to 10:15, then 10:30 to 11:45, and so on. So take one at least, which is a professional development thing. As Grant suggested, take something that can make your life easy today. Take one session at least which is futuristic, like, okay, what the hell is big data? Why are we talking about that? Be curious and go to a session like that. And one of the most rewarding things I found, Grant, is that let's go to a session with which I have nothing to do. For example, I
Right.
have never worked on MongoDB, and yes, I would definitely love to go and attend a MongoDB. So remember, folks, and then keep at least 1 hour a day free, not just during the lunch, because lunch you will be mostly networking and having user group meetings and stuff like that. But at
Oh yeah.
least 1 hour a day, spend some serious quality time with the vendors. Okay, and we have a whole separate discussion on the vendors. So
Yeah.
something that you are already doing, attend 2 or 3 sessions of that, one for professional development and at least one for a topic that you have nothing to do with. Like I never worked on Power BI and I took so many Power. In fact, I took a whole day of Power BI session. So
Oh
that's one
really?
of the, oh yeah, absolutely. I took the pre-con for that. So pre-cons are something which are absolutely deep dives and you really want to go into the pre-con sessions.
I
Uh,
was just going to bring that up.
cool, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, no, you go ahead.
So one of the things that you will find is that a lot of the times the 1 hour or 75-minute sessions that you attend are typically not very deep dive. But in the pre-cons, they are really deep dive. Just something like you would find during a SQL Saturday pre-cons that they go really deep. So the way I talk in management lingo is that these guys know too much about too little, or you will learn
Yeah.
too much about too little, whereas the other session, the regular sessions, are too little about too much. So definitely between that you must make a pick, but I would strongly suggest go through the pre-cons. Yeah, I know it means that you have to stay 2 more days in the hotel and possibly, but I think this is worth spending that money on. And I have never been to the past summit without actually attending a pre-con.
Well, and there's a package deal for purchasing Summit. If you buy the 2 days of precons and the full Summit package, you get a whole bunch of extra stuff that's worth having. So I mean, I would I mean, like, granted, what we didn't say up front is, hi, my name is Grant. I'm the president of the PASS organization. So yeah, I want you to go. But it's a really good deal if you buy the package. It gives you a bunch of stuff, some fun stuff, as well as more and better learning because you can get all the precons in. I mean, and I just brought up the schedule here just so you guys can see it. I mean, so Monday, just in precons, and these are all day long. You're going to sit down with one or more individuals all day. We've got Rob Sewell working with database administration, which, by the way, Rob Sewell's amazing. Aristotle talking about performance tuning and query store, and Aaron is amazing. Itzik Bengan talking about T-SQL fundamentals, and I guess I can just repeat it again. Itzik is amazing. If you're doing Power BI, you do not want to miss Lila's session. She is not amazing. She's incredible.
She's a
And
goddess.
oh my God, she knows. Oh, I've gone to her. I'm not a Power BI person, and I go to her sessions because she's that good. Kevin Fiesel is amazing. He's going to teach you new stuff. David Klee, I'm happy to say a very good friend and also just a bloody genius. And then Bob Ward, you can't go into Bob Ward's session. He's sold out both days. Sorry. You should have acted sooner if you hadn't already signed up for that. But almost every one of these, everyone except for Bob's, every one of these things is available and you guys can sign up for them right now. And so you can see that just that first day, there's a whole bunch of stuff. And then if we get down to Tuesday, there's more. I mean, and there's all kinds of fun things going on. Kendra Little is doing a session with Steve Jones on DevOps. I mean, so we're covering everything in depth, just in the pre-cons. And then when we get into the regular schedule, it just goes nuts from there. I mean,
So I would also like to add one more thing. For example, the quality of the speakers here is something that you can definitely verify yourselves, but just take our word for it. For example, David Klee just comes to my mind often because he's one of the very few people who is an MVP in two different streams. One is in SQL and the other one is in the VMware. And when he talks about SQL Server on VM, and that's absolutely a phenomenal thing to do. And these guys are MVPs in their own rights. But more importantly, you would be lucky just to be seen in the same building with these guys. Now you'll be in the same class if you sign up for these. So
right. And also in terms of learning this year, the one other thing I would like to bring up on this, and then we can move on to another topic, if you're ready. And that's that we have more Microsoft people at the event this year than we've ever had before. We have more Microsoft speakers. We changed some of the rules. We changed some of the communication, and we reached out, and now we've got a whole bunch of people who used to be speakers here, like Jess Borland, and who they kind of stopped speaking at Summit because of some of the rules and some of the other things. But we've made some changes, and Microsoft has supported us in this, and now we've got a whole bunch of people coming back to Summit from being internal to Microsoft and speaking again for the first time in a couple of years. So I'm just really excited about the program this year. It's just going to be amazing. Hey, look at that. Data classification, take your first step on the road to agile data governance by some guy named Grant Fritchey. That's a really great session. You should all attend. Come on, that's a joke. That's
What
funny.
a speaker, right? I tell you. No, but hey, Grant, if you come and speak in Boston, I pretty much drop all other sessions and go to your session. So, and guys, the idea is not to eulogize each other here, but definitely these are the sessions you want to go ahead and attend. So the second,
go ahead.
Now, let's go to the next one if I can ever find that my PowerPoint and see where we were going to go next. Convincing your boss, right? There is a document that you have there, right? So let's.
I have a document right here. Hang on, let me first go to where it's at on the web page. Let's see. Nope. 1 second. Yes. If you go to the Why Go section of the web page, and it's right here under Attend Why Go, there's a Convince Your Boss, and it's a button, and it downloads a document. Come on.
And make him an offer he can't refuse, basically. So
right. But it downloads a document, and it basically it's more or less a functional office letter written out for your boss, explaining what's going on, how many people are going to be there, why you think you should attend, and then filling out just the the general cost that it's going to be. So this is a great mechanism that you can use, that we've set up and provided for you, so you can just hook right in and tell your boss how to get there. Now I'm going to take a little moment here and bring up my own blog. I've written 2 blog posts on just this exact topic: convince the boss to send you to Summit. And the letter, I would definitely recommend the letter. It's extremely professional. It's very well laid out. You should definitely follow it. But if you want to kind of like get into some of the technical reasons and the emotional reasons of why you should convince the boss, I would recommend going over to scarydba.com and look up, convince your boss. Because the idea here is, yes, we talked about learning and the current problem and the future direction. We already talked about that stuff, but it's also talking to your boss about, hey, look, our team will benefit from this. And best of all, because if I go and get the package and I can download all the sessions, we can show them to people back at the office. I'll be happier in my job if you send me. Hey, and by the way, I'll be on call while I'm there if you need me. I'll take notes and share those with you. I'll collect t-shirts and pass them back out to the team. And hey, guess what? I can build my network, and we're going to detail networking here in a little bit, but I can build my network, and that will benefit the organization. Because the one thing I will say before we talk about the networking in detail is networking is not about finding your next job. Networking is about making contacts that make you a better employee at your current job. And then maybe they help you find your next job.
And the most winning argument for me, Grant, has been that, hey, remember, you don't have to see my face for 7 days. That was like a complete deal sealer for me. So
I should have thought of that one. They would have jumped on it.
Cool. So let's go on to the next one, right? So if you are on a shoestring budget, right? So one of the things that I have done, for example, last year when I came there, Grant, my company actually canceled my registration and asked me to cancel everything just 3 days prior to the summit because of some budgetary issues. So I said, you know what? I already paid for the flight. I already get a free ticket because of my 20,000 user groups that I run. And so it's now just a question of staying. So what I did was I actually go ahead and book myself in Airbnb.
Right.
And I got for 5 days, I got a Airbnb for about $600, and
I know.
which is kind of awesome. The food, for example, every day in the evening there is some or the other vendor event that is happening. Feel free to go there, enjoy the food, and this is not just pizza or spaghetti, right? This is some serious food there. And I can tell you this: the lunch and the breakfast at Pass itself are also awesome. So what else do you really want to eat, right? Maybe during one of the breaks, you can actually go ahead and pocket a couple of cookies there into your wallet. But I mean, generally speaking, the food is taken care of. So there you go on the shoestring budget. Uh,
Well,
I
and
mean,
and I mean,
yeah, yeah,
breakfast at Summit is cold.
yeah.
If you want a hot breakfast, there's a way to get that, and that is that there are sponsored breakfasts. There are vendor
Oh, yeah.
sponsored breakfasts. And what you need to do is look on the schedule and find out when those are and sign up for them, show up for them. And yeah, you sort of have to sing for your food, meaning you're going to sit through some presentations by the vendors, but you can get a hot breakfast for no cost. So, that's a great way to go. Otherwise, there's a free cold breakfast, high quality stuff, and it's included. But lunch, we spend, the organization spends extra money on lunch to get a better lunch. So we want you guys to eat. I need to. I'm maintaining this.
And the other thing is like, the airfare, for example, right? On the way back, and like me and Grant, we fly back to the East Coast, and I took a red eye flight on Friday night, right? And getting back and forth the airport, if you are not going to use Uber, which is like what, $75 one way, I would rather suggest just like literally 2 minutes walk from there is a train station that takes you
Yes,
straight into the airport. Try to travel light as possible, and you can actually hop on to the train as quickly as possible and get out of there too. So that saves you about 150 or $200 right off the cuff for yourself. So say hi to
right.
your wife for me, please.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm like pointing out, hey, honey, I got the camera on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I ain't gonna lie, Summit's not cheap. I mean, flying over there is not cheap. So you've got to find ways to cut corners, and the train is a great example. And then the other thing would be to talk not just to the vendors for the breakfast, but also talk to some of the vendors because they have evening events too, and you can score invitations to those. We'll talk about vendors more in a little bit, but um, there's a lot of ways to reduce your food budget quite a lot. Also, Tuesday night is the reception night, so we have some food and maybe a drink or two from Summit itself, and then Wednesday night is the vendor expo hall is open, and there's also again free snacks and a drink or two. So there's a lot of opportunity there to avoid ever spending a penny on food.
Totally
For
agree.
the most part, if you buy more than 2 or 3 dinners over the week, and again, maybe you're buying those because you're out networking with someone, but if you buy more than that, you're probably not following the instructions that Paresh and I are giving
Cool. So now then let's go over to we already spoke about how to choose sessions, right? So the other one
you. Right.
was networking, right? One of the biggest advantages of going to an event like this is networking. So multiple aspects of networking here, like number one, meet with people who you don't know. The first thing I would say is go to Staples or Vistaprint or something like that and just get like 250 cards for yourself. It's simple name, number, and email, and possibly your Twitter handle or any other social media profile that you like to share. Keep them handy. Do not go to the session by keeping your business cards in your bag in your room. That is really stupid waste of time and opportunity, right?
There's a you'll get a lanyard with a placard and some stuff. Shove business cards into that,
Yes,
and
that's a
then
great idea.
you have to have that to get in the door. And if you've already put your business cards in it, you've got your business cards.
Cool. So you don't have to kind of go through your wallet and drop 20,000 receipts and some coins and all that. That will be a great way to do it. Second thing is during lunch breaks or breakfast breaks or just while walking around, do not sit next to people you know. This is a classic sin. Do not do that because these are the same people with whom you are spending almost the rest of your life. So why would you want to sit with the same people? I would much rather go and sit at a table. Ah, look at that table. I don't know anybody there. Let me go and sit there and go shake hands with everyone. And nobody thinks that you are from Amway. Okay. So everybody knows you are a SQL guy and you're there to basically expand your network. And then we also have something towards the end that we'll talk about how to follow up on that, right? Then when you are with the vendors, also again, we talk about this, but basically carry a lot of cards, say hi to random people. Seriously,
Yeah.
nobody will think you're demented. And sit next to people you don't know. And also, once you are in a session, when the speaker is coming out, make sure that you go ahead and say hello, hey guys, good job, and so on and so forth, and possibly exchange the card. And then we can see what to do with this information there. Uh, do not talk that yes you are looking for a job. Seriously guys, don't do that.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
that's
Go ahead.
not a bright idea. So then let's any questions on networking or anything that we have spoken so far? Okay,
Can I add a
nothing.
couple of things on the networking topic
Yeah, sure, go ahead please.
before we move on?
Yeah.
What was I going to say? First up, understand why you're networking. Remember, you're not networking to get new jobs, although that can happen. You're networking in order to expand your personal knowledge. Networking is selfish. Networking is purely selfish. Networking is all about saying, hey, I don't know X, but I'm friends with David Klee, and David Klee knows X really, really well. So I'm going to fire off an email to David Klee, and I'll probably get an answer that I need. It's going to be reciprocal, right? David Klee knows that I know query tuning, and he has sent me query tuning emails, and I've helped him out with stuff. That's fine. But I mean, the whole idea here is that you're expanding your network. And then as far as like talking to people randomly, you have to understand that Kevin Klein, who was one of the founders of the PASS organization and a great, great man, I swear, if you get the chance to meet Kevin, go say hi to him. He is one of the great individuals that we have in our community. I mean, it's just kind of hard to say too many nice things about Kevin. Anyhow, when Kevin founded PASS, one of the things that they said was like, well, at the time, PASS was not that big. It wasn't that well known. And they wanted to have this event, but what was going to draw people in versus another event? And Kevin came up with the idea of saying, well, we're going to be aggressively friendly. And it's
I never heard that phrase before.
And it's carried forward. They set the tone, aggressively friendly, and now we are all aggressively friendly. So when you see it, there's going to be a lot of people just walking up to strangers. Hey, how are you doing? What's going on? What do you do? Is this your first time at Summit? Oh, I see you have a first timers ribbon. Welcome to Summit. You're going to get engaged a lot. So if you are a very, very, very shy person and you're not going to reach out, don't you worry. We're going to reach out to you.
Yeah, that's something I've
but take
noticed too.
advantage of those opportunities because you will see a lot of chats going on, and so you just got to get engaged with it. That's all.
And one thing that I really loved what we did last year, and I know we do it every year, was the first timers event. So that was absolutely fabulous, and I totally loved it too. And yeah, feel free to go ahead and volunteer for that kind of event. And in the evening, when they have these events, you actually spend a lot of time. They will possibly tell you a lot of what we already told you here, but then you will actually be sitting next to people you don't know. And that's the time you want to go ahead and strike up a friendship that will possibly last you through the life, right? So
Right.
definitely do that. Anything else on networking? Otherwise, we can go to the Microsoft.
Nope. Yep. Let's talk Microsoft.
So my experience with Microsoft Cat Teams is not very deep, but I know for sure that Grant has done it awful number of times. And so I would definitely would love to
Oh
see
yeah.
you talk about the presence of Microsoft CAT teams.
Well, okay, so I mean, for those who don't know, I mean, it's the customer assistance team, right? And that's also called Azure Cat. They change the name pretty constantly, so it's kind of hard to know exactly what we're talking about. But what we're really fundamentally saying is the top engineers at Microsoft are in the building, right? Either the guys who wrote the code or the ladies who wrote the documentation or the other ladies who wrote other bits of code or whatever. There are the individuals in the building who are supporting the most high-end, biggest, baddest, worst, horriblest, toughest problems. They're all there. And it costs you nothing to go talk to them. You go in, there's a little registration desk. You say, hey, here's what my problem is. And they will figure out, okay, well, let's see, so-and-so's on schedule, so they're here and you can talk to them. Or so-and-so's not going to be here till noon, can you come back? And then you just make an arrangement to either immediately go off and start talking to one of these engineers or one of these technicians, or you arrange to come back and talk to them, and then you've got a direct feed to Microsoft. You know what I mean? It's a direct and free consulting gig with Microsoft. I mean, if you call level 3 support, you're not going to get as good information as what you get here, and you will pay big bucks for it. This is built into the cost of attending Summit. It is effectively free, and it's a fantastic resource. Now, I've used it a bunch of times. I won't lie, I'm not that bright. I need help. So I'll dig some deep, nasty hole, and then I will contact these guys and say, please, please, please help me get out of this hole. Or I may just have like a 45-second question, right? I've looked and I've looked and I can't find the answer to this. What's the answer? And you get the answer. Or you find out that they're going, wait a minute, I didn't know that. And then ta-da, you've introduced a new bug to the product and maybe something could get fixed. But it's absolutely a great, great interaction. It's a great opportunity. And for your employer, if you're trying to think of a reason for them to send you, it is absolutely a reason to send people to the Summit, because seriously, you're going to get that kind of support that you just won't, that you have to pay for anywhere else in the world. So, I mean, it's worth your time.
Yeah, and the other thing is that your boss doesn't have to know that you got this problem solved through Microsoft CAT people. You can actually claim 100% credit to that problem solution.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, just come back and go, I've
just,
got this.
yeah, don't worry about it. Only me and Grant know what you did there, so don't worry about it. So I think the next session which I wanted to talk about is, does anybody, by the way, have any questions about how to basically tap into the cat? I mean, they're real cats at what they do. So if you have any questions on how to handle that and how to basically make the most of that cat team there, feel free to shoot us on Twitter or something like that, and we'll be able to answer that, or just put a question here. So the next one that we at least wanted to chat about very deeply is the vendors. So uh, I don't even know how much I can stop talking about them. So let's just start by saying, vendors, three reasons, right? Number one, they are sponsors. So when you go and talk to them, they really feel good. They come across, they'll come next year, and the chances are you'll continue to get the same great food and some awesome events that are happening. But that is the second largest reason. The most important reason is that they may have a service or a product that can change your life. If you are kind of writing your own homegrown scripts to monitor 2000 servers, guess what? SQL Sentry, Idera, any of these guys can actually solve that for you in a jiffy.
Right,
And you
Gabe.
might want to spend serious quality time looking at the demos of the products. Yes, the swag, oh my God, you can never have enough swag, right? But the swag is just a small byproduct of what you actually get out of these vendor visits. I would say please plan at least spending 1 hour a day with a lot of vendors over there. So there are some vendors who may not have a booth, but who is possibly sitting next to you at lunch table or a breakfast table, make sure that you spend some time with them, understand what their products are, right? So, and the third thing, which I think Grant will tell you what has been his biggest advantage of talking to a vendor.
Well, I mean, I got my job with a vendor. I work for Redgate Software, and I got that job at Summit. I mean, not completely at Summit. I mean, but what I did do is when I had decided to make the leap and move, I went and talked to Redgate at Summit first, and started the conversation there to get my job. And it was funny because they initially they were kind of like, yeah, that's a great idea. We don't have any openings. We're really not interested right now, but thanks for your interest. And and I kind of was bummed and went home. And then I got a phone call that week. Yeah, we've changed our mind. Can you fly to London next week? And I couldn't because I didn't have a passport. So I had to go get a passport and then fly. But anyway,
Good problem
I
to have.
I got a job with a vendor because of a chat at Summit. But I mean, honestly, I wouldn't suggest that that's a reason to go to Summit. Honestly, it would not. Instead, it's like you said, talk to the vendors because they're solving problems. Or I'll bet you're already using some of these third-party tools. I've got some of the vendors up here: Snowflake, Google Cloud, some of the others, and I'm sure that you're probably already using some of their products. This is your chance to go and influence those vendors. Now, some of the vendors only bring salespeople, okay, but a lot of the vendors bring developers. They bring the people who are building the tools. So if you have a problem, you can go there and ask them and get an answer. It's just like having Microsoft there. Go and get the answer from the people who made the tool. If you've got a suggestion on how to make the product better, how to make the product better for you, let alone for everyone else, just for you, totally personal, again, selfish driven reasons, go and talk to them and let them know, hey, I've got this great idea. They are always, and I'm speaking for Redgate, but I'm sure I'm speaking for the others, they are always interested to hear what problems are you experiencing and how can we help? Because if we can help you solve a problem, I guarantee we can help solve another 1,000 people's problems. And that means selling our software bigger, better, faster, stronger. So that's a big reason to go and talk to them. But also, again, I always go back to the main thing of understand what's out there in a vendor landscape, what they are doing, and what tools are available to make your job easier. Because that's the big thing is that our jobs aren't easy, and so you might as well find a way to make it as easy as possible. And the vendors help. I mean, it's a huge help. And yeah, maybe you can get a job, but that's not the reason I would go.
Absolutely not. And the other thing, what was I going to say about the vendors was that a lot of the times, I'm taking a slightly selfish approach here now, and that is, I'm in the leadership team for the New England SQL Server user group, the Boston Business Intelligence group, and we are now floating a Boston Business Analytics and Artificial Intelligence user group too. Okay, and guess what? You can
More power to you, man.
They're not as big as fast, but yes, someday, my friend. So one of the things that I found by talking to these vendors is that I could actually entice them to come and sponsor some of our local events. So if you are a user group organizer or a user group attendee, you can tell your leaders that, hey, guess what? I met this awesome people from Snowflake, and they would love to come and sponsor this event for us, which means more educational content coming to you at a good quality and at a good price, right? In the sense that you have these people flying in from California, or they are here in this area, and you can invite them to come. So not only you will be able to find speakers with the vendors, but you can also go ahead and find some sponsorships for your local events as you go along. So,
And if you don't run the local user group, right, you're just, hi, I'm Bob. I attend a user group. Fine. Make that vendor contact and bring it back to your user group, right? Hey, I've talked to this great vendor. They said that they could sponsor. They said that they can send a speaker, because I know I used to run a user group. I don't anymore, thank God, but I used to. And I know getting speakers is hard. You know, even a big, popular, successful user group like Paresh runs, you still have to scramble a bit sometimes
Correct.
to get speakers. Yeah.
And
So
we do that a lot, Grant. And I think one of the biggest learning lessons for us has been how to approach a speaker
sure.
and how to find a speaker and how to find a sponsor. So that is one of the biggest advantages of running user groups. So if you do not have a user group local, go ahead and start one, right? I mean, and hoping that you
Yeah.
can have at least 6 to 10 meetings a year that possibly might enable you to get a free pass registration for yourself or one of your team members there. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, a personal story. I attended Grapevine, Texas in 2005. That was my very first PASS summit. And I did it wrong. I was, I had a session every hour, and I attended the sessions. Some of them were horrible. This was a long time ago, and a different set of speakers and stuff. But there was a couple of horrible sessions I went to. Well, and there was a couple of just that weren't applicable to me. And what I didn't do, which I recommend everyone does, is just get up and walk out. Right? If the session is not good for you, just leave. But anyway, I would go to the sessions and then went back to my hotel. Sessions, hotel, sessions, hotel. Except one night. One night I talked to a vendor during the day, and they gave me an invite to a party. I went to the party, and there were some people hanging out there who were volunteers for PASS. And I started talking to them, found out what they did. I wanted to get engaged because they were clearly having fun, knew each other, were sharing some cool stuff. They were aggressively friendly. And so I got engaged with that. And then I'm ashamed to say this, I have not paid for Summit since 2006.
oh
Because I've been
yes.
going free as a volunteer ever since, either a volunteer or a speaker or now a board member. But
And now
but yeah, I've been speaking and attending ever since that first one, because I talked to people, and specifically I talked to a vendor to get the pass to the dinner. So
actually, I remember Idera had given me a pass several years ago when my company had already spent money on that. And I said, you know what, can I take this as a rain check maybe 3 years from now when my company doesn't pay me? But yeah, I mean, thankfully, I never had to really use that because of my involvement with these three user groups. So that's been
right,
awesome, right? So, any
you're a
questions,
nut.
folks? So far, we have covered like 7 topics. Either we are doing exceptionally super duper job, or you guys are partially asleep. One of the two. So, definitely feel free to shoot any questions our way before we go to the next one, which is going to be follow up, right? So, what do you do? Yes, you had a lovely time there. You met a whole bunch of people. What do we do? Which would kind of go hand in hand with the networking part that we did as bullet number 5 there. So for follow up, few things I would recommend is definitely write to them, tweet to them, reach out to them on LinkedIn, tell them that you met them here, right? And don't just reach out to them without giving a personal message. They are not really happy. In fact, there is a whole session about business networking that I have somewhere online under slideshare.net. And that will tell you what to do with that. But as we are here today, so definitely make sure that you are able to follow up. If you do not follow up within the first week, just let it go. Don't even bother. I have seen so many vendors, Grant, and I don't know if Redgate is actually experiencing this kind of thing. But what I have seen is that the vendors actually don't follow up with you for 6 months. Oh, why? Because they were too busy following up with other people, which is the vendor's loss. But what I would say is that you should not possibly make the same mistake. Definitely go ahead, write to them, follow up if you have any pictures or selfies you took, right? I mean, hey, Grant, how about having a selfie contest this year in Pass? That would go a long way. No kidding at all, man. So definitely follow up. Anything else that you do, Mike? Grant, about this follow up business?
Well, I mean, it goes back to for me, the follow up is extremely important because it goes back to convincing your boss why to send you. Um, that's the biggest thing, is the follow-up. It's not what you do while you're there. It's what you do afterwards, and that is share your notes. You took notes during the sessions, right? Please tell me you did.
Yeah.
And so share those notes with your team. Teach your team. Take the information that you've received and regurgitate it. No, don't steal someone else's slide deck and give their presentation. But you attended somebody's session on, how to use containers for SQL Server testing. Just plucking an idea out of the air. Show the team how you could do that, right? Maybe nobody's thought about that. The fact that we could spin containers up for the continuous integration testing a whole lot easier than trying to set up servers. Why don't we just do that? And and share that back with your team. I think that's one of the biggest follow-ups. I will second re-engaging the people that you engaged with, especially if you exchanged business cards. Send a follow-up email. Nice to meet you. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. We talked about this. It was at this event. If you're talking to somebody who's just attending PASS and they're not one of the speakers, and they're not some great Microsoft rep or something like that, sure, you can just say, "Hey, it's Bob. We talked." If it's a speaker, there's a good chance the speaker, this is his 15th or 20th event this year, and no matter how special Summit is, he's talked to 2,000 people this year. You need to remind him when and where. She won't remember. You've got to tell the speaker where you met. But other than that, it's just all about taking advantage of the fact that you've gone to this unique event. You've got a unique set of data and experiences. Share that with your team. It'll inspire the boss to send somebody else. It'll inspire your coworkers to do better and do more, and maybe next year they get to go. But if you're not sharing it, it's almost a waste. I mean, because it's this, a rising tide lifts all boats, guys. Your knowledge on your team is not something that makes you special. If I hoard my knowledge, I'm better. No. You've got knowledge, share it with your team. They all go up a little bit, and then they share their knowledge and you go up a little bit. And it's just all about that continual sharing. So keep it going. I mean, that's the one follow-up I would say, and learn from the aggressive friendliness. And hey, if you really enjoyed it and you really liked it, volunteer.
Yeah.
We use people for committees. The selection committee uses people to review all the the 1,000 plus submissions that come in to speak at Summit. There's virtual groups like this one that need volunteers. There's local groups like he runs that need volunteers. There's a lot of places that you could help out. So I mean, again, it's Summit is not one day or 1 week. Summit's 365, and you need to approach it that way.
And it soon becomes a way of life, right? That whenever there is a sequel, and how many events do you speak at? At least you are doing it through your company also. That makes awesome. But I speak at about 15 different events a year. Most of them are SQL Saturdays, and I just enjoy it. But the most important thing is following up. And one of the things that I can also add on the following up part of it is go ahead and blog about it, right?
Yeah.
Let people know what your experiences were. So, I mean, don't type something like, oh my God, the escalator broke down or something like that, which has never happened. But share your
Yet.
positive experiences, because people have enough negativity in the air here. They're just looking for something positive to lift them up. So blog about it, tweet about it, make a lovely LinkedIn presentation, post some lovely pictures on Facebook. I mean, I'm a geek and I'm not shy. I'm sure Grant is also not shy of Facebook. So I think we are all good with that. So definitely that is one of the aspects of follow-up that I would strongly advise you to do. And
Right.
that is to follow up. Okay.
Let me just say, I brought up on my screen, because I'm still sharing my screen. I brought up on my screen, and there is the @SQL Pass that you can see there, and then there's the pound past summit, hashtag past summit that you can see there. There we go. And you can see that there's comments going by. If you're at summit, I get it that a lot of people, you don't want to be on Twitter. Fine, don't be on Twitter. But at summit, get on Twitter and follow at SQL Pass and hashtag Pass Summit, because it's a great way to find out what's going on, where things are happening, if there's changes to the schedule. It's just an immediate, fast feedback loop. So it's a great place to go to get information. We were going to mention that earlier, but I wanted to make sure I got it in there.
Absolutely.
Whoops.
So
my screen just went blank. I hope I'm still here.
No, you're here. No worries there at all. So the last thing that I would definitely like to share um, is it all about networking and learning like big jazzy words and jargons and stuff like that? No. If you can manage some budget out of your vacation time or something like that, I would say reach there late Friday night, Saturday, do some touristy stuff, go visit the Microsoft office, which at least you can't go inside. You can go around the block, see what it is. There's the Amazon web. Of course, are we allowed to say the word Amazon in this one here? But so
we
yes,
are.
you can
They are a
definitely,
sponsor. We're allowed to
yes.
say that.
So yes, definitely go ahead and see their head office, which is like what, 5 minutes walk. That big glass kind of dome just off the Fifth Street there, which is kind of cool. The Pike Street Market. I mean, if you haven't been there, I would strongly suggest go there. The way they serve you fish over there when you buy some fish. Have you been there, Grant?
Yeah. I've
You
seen
know
the
how
fish
they throw
fly.
the fish from across one corner of the market to the other corner when you buy one, so that they go ahead and weigh it for you and then you pay up at that register. So that's
Right.
there. Go to Mount Rainier National Park, right? I mean, it's a full day tour there and you'll totally love it. The Snoqualmie Waterfalls is there. The Bainbridge Island is there. There's a whole bunch of things. Just walking in the streets of downtown Seattle, the Needle is something you definitely want to try and get into. Most companies have like $50 for a dinner in the evening. Being a vegetarian, all I could do was get a $43 or $42 worth of some vegetarian dish in the Needle. And
Wow.
and with the tip and all that, it came to about $51, which was kind of awesome. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do there. But most
Yeah,
importantly,
I'll give you a couple of others for the nerds in the audience. There's a museum, and it opens and closes, so I don't know if it's open right now, but there's the Science Fiction Museum, which is in the basement of the Seattle Experience or something or other. But it's got a whole bunch of paraphernalia from science fiction movies over the last 50 years, 60 years. So that's worth a checking out. And then the Seattle Underground is a pretty wild tour where they just literally raise the streets one level, unless you believe in the mud flood
I know.
conspiracy.
So, any questions, guys? Because I think it's about 10:53. I just wanted to kind of go through the summary of what we did today. And so today, what we essentially spoke about is like, why go, right? So we give you a whole bunch of reasons why you want to go. And you want to not only give those reasons to your boss when you're convincing them, but there is like a whole spreadsheet. In fact, I also have a spreadsheet that was developed by me, which you can actually share with your boss and say, this is what it is there. And good thing for me was that because I had a free ticket, they eventually, 1 month after I came back, Grant, they actually went ahead and approved all my expenses. So which was kind of
Oh
cool.
wow! Oh,
So
that's great.
so what do you do if you are on a shoestring budget? We also spoke about that, right? I mean, how to use the train system to get to the hotel or the venue. Try to get a Airbnb close to the venue itself, so you don't spend like $20 one way for a cab or something like that. Uh, Choosing sessions, right? One of the most important thing we spoke about, at least 1 hour with a vendor, at least one non as a professional development chapter, at least one session where you have nothing to do with, and at least 1 or 2 sessions where you can actually make an immediate connection with. Networking, carry lots of business cards, say hello to random people. No, they will not think you are demented. I promise you that. I have done that
No.
absolutely time and time again. It's one of the biggest things you will carry back home with you. Meeting up with the Microsoft CAT teams, bring your real life problems there. Actually, you can
Yeah.
VPN into your office network and show them this is the server. See, this is what is happening is it's constantly at 85% CPU and we don't have money for doing this. And they will actually possibly be able to drill down there with you right then and there. Or at least they will give you a time, hey, why don't you come back, say at around 1:30 or 2 o'clock or something like that. Make sure that you actually let go of one of the sessions you chose to speak about or chose to attend, and then go ahead and work with the CAT teams for that. Uh, Spend time with the vendors. Why? Because they are your sponsors. They can actually solve a problem that you have been plagued with for a long time. And there is a chance your next job might come from that too. Remember, yeah, I mean, it sounds ridiculous because a lot of people, at least in the company, don't want to hear about it. But following up, most crucial thing, one of the last things we spoke about was follow up.
Yeah.
How to follow up, write up follow up emails, connect with them on LinkedIn with proper messaging, and so on. Twitter, obviously, it's one of the lowest. I'd say, what do you call it? Lowest impact in the sense that you don't really intrude in anybody's life with Twitter, which is kind of awesome.
Right.
And then, yes, definitely touristy stuff. There's a lot to do there. If you are spending, say, $2,000 and some vacation time, you might as well spend $2,500 and make the most out of it too.
Sure.
So, right. And so, what I would like to say in the closing is that uh, the past summit is seriously like drinking out of a fire hose. Okay. And I'm
Yeah.
not kidding you. So come thirsty, come thirsty with the knowledge for the knowledge, right? And you will not go home disappointed or dehydrated. I promise you that. There will be too much to take home. Make sure that whatever you learned, you share it with the others, blog, and then what you learned there, make sure you can even go ahead and put it in practice. So I think that should be pretty much it. I think you will have a great time. If you have already not registered, please go ahead and do it. I will be sharing the discount code for our virtual group, which will be valid for another week or so, maybe 10 days. And if you can, you should be able to save about $150 right off the cuff because you used our discount code to go with
That's
it.
excellent.
So I think that's it from my side. Any parting words, Grant?
One and only one thing. I've got it up on the screen now so you guys can see it. There's an all access contest. You get 3-day registration to the Past Summit for free. You get to go to a VIP meet and greet. I'm pretty sure I'm scheduled for that. So you'll be interviewed on Past TV, although I'm sure you can skip it if you really don't want to. You get a free ticket to the communities night, front row seating at the keynotes, a USB of all the stuff, and all you got to do is tell us how it's going to change your life. And what can you achieve? What do you think that Summit will help you do more, better, faster? And go here, sign up, get a free pass. What the heck, you know?
Mhm. Okay, so
And that's it. Other than that,
cool.
anyone who's out there, if you see me at Summit, say hi, unless I'm running. If I'm running, wait.
Don't get in the way.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, here's the thing, Grant. This is a whole bunch of questions came up and there was no notification here. So,
Oh, okay. So cool.
uh,
Let's answer them.
did you say we can download all the sessions for free? I think he's asking for the past session. Yes, you
Let,
can, but
let,
that will be after a while.
yeah.
You can
What
buy them
happens
for
is they
sure.
trickle out.
Yes, correct. I'm looking to rent a car. Is there a free parking at the hotel? Almost 100% no. No free parking there, my friend. Do not rent a car. Live happily
Don't
ever
rent a
after.
car.
Seriously. I just gave you a tip about taking a train into the city, and in the city, you won't need a car. I promise you that.
And if you do need a car in the city, Uber is way cheaper than renting a car
Yes, absolutely. And then the
or
other
Lyft.
gentleman has gone on to ask if it's so difficult because most of the people are looking at their phones, which is possible. So maybe you can just kind of look over their shoulder and say, "Hi, what are you doing on the phone?" No, that's just a lame
Slap it out
joke.
of their
But
hands.
yeah, just say, "Hey, hi, my name is Paresh. If I'm not
Don't
in
do
the
that.
room,
I'm
can I
joking.
say hello?" Um, so remind me, please, when are you able to sign up or register for the vendor breakfast? So which is pretty much like anytime. So the vendors should be able to, if you are registered there, you might get a vendor sponsored email and you can register for that. Some of them
It
fit
depends on
pretty
the vendor.
fast. I must tell you that. Okay.
Yeah, some
So
of them do fill up. So
yeah.
I mean, it depends on the vendor. Keep an eye out for the emails. Check the website regularly. Yeah.
Then Leah Schneider is asking, is there a way at PASS that I can connect with my local group? Actually, there will be what they call as a BOF lunch or the birds of the feather lunch. So there will be a chance that there will be somebody from your local group who has gone there, and you might actually be ending up on the same lunch table at least once. So go ahead and tweet about it, post it on Facebook. You are there, chances are somebody will bite it, and you can actually go ahead and network with them.
There's
Um,
also a section of the venue called the community zone, and in the
yeah,
community
exactly.
zone
Okay.
there are different times, and it'll all be scheduled there. You go there and check it out, and it'll also be online. But there's like different times for meeting. Like if you're from Canada, hey, everyone from Canada is meeting at this time. If you're from Australia, all the Australians are coming in here. So there's a whole bunch of opportunity there to meet other people as well. So check out the community zone. By the way, in the community zone, I will be at the community zone as often as I can because I'm speaking and because I have work. And
Come
because
on.
I'm the president of the organization, I'm not there as often as I'd like to be, but I will swing by it regularly. So if you want to have a chat with me, look for me there. And at the community zone, at the end of the week, we have the board Q&A. So if you want to, or I'm not sure if it's the end of the week, but whenever, at some point during the week, there's the board Q&A, which you can talk to the past board and let us know how we're doing, positive or negative. Please bring any criticisms. We want to hear them.
So one lady has gone on to ask, maybe you can give us some information about how introverts can basically renew their, and I can't seem to expand this, which is kind of weird.
Okay, let me say this. As an introvert, at the end of Summit, I'm dead. So my best recommendation to you is plan on being tired. Go into Summit rested, drink a lot of water, and then spend the energy that week and recover it later. And I get it. I am an introvert, and no one ever believes me when I say that, but I am. And by the end of the week, I'm a dead man, and it's just how it goes. But that's Summit.
Then they wanted to know a little bit about the mentorship programs. Maybe that would be a whole new session, right?
Yeah,
And in this at the summit, we don't have anything for mentorship, right? I mean, you can actually run into your local mentor, but I don't think there is a special program for that, right?
let's talk about that. I mean, not now, but
Okay.
yeah, that's
Like a whole
something
new
maybe we
session.
gotta.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's something I wouldn't mind talking about because I would like to do a little bit more mentoring now that I'm not going to be president anymore.
Oh man, gonna miss it, dude.
All the hard work is almost over.
Yes.
Um,
So they're asking if the games night ahead of the time. I think games night are pretty okay. I don't think they fill up really bad. So you should be okay, Vanessa. And
I would still register ahead of
yeah,
time. I
definitely.
mean,
Ahead of time is always great, but you can
the
actually do it 1 day or 2 days prior, and you should still live happily.
probably.
Rahul is asking if there was any, how would I get the discount code to them? Shame on me, I don't have it now. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it, and I have to actually vacate
He
the
has to
conference
run.
room
Okay.
too. So I think that's just pretty much it. Thank you, Grant. I really appreciate your time, man, and I
Oh
hope the
no, no
people who
problem.
attended here can make the most out of this thing. So, looking forward to seeing you guys at the summit. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you,
See you again.
folks.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye. See you.